Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's presentation. I'm delighted to have you here. Today, we will be discussing the calibration of the particle size analyzer. My name is Dr. S.K. Singh, and I hold a PhD in this field. Over the next few minutes, I will walk you through the key aspects of calibrating this important instrument, including the methods and best practices. So, let's get started and explore how accurate particle size measurements are achieved through proper calibration. Welcome to our introduction to particle size analysis. Today, I want to talk about how a particle size analyzer helps us measure the size distribution of various materials like powders, suspensions, and emulsions. Specifically, we use laser diffraction analyzers, which are capable of measuring particles ranging from about 0.1 micrometers up to 3 millimeters. The principle behind this is light scattering. By analyzing how light is scattered by particles, we can determine their size accurately. Now, these measurements are extremely important across a variety of industries. For example, in pharmaceuticals, they help us understand the size of active pharmaceutical ingredients and excipients. In the chemicals and nanomaterials sectors, particle size influences reactivity and stability. Food and cosmetics companies also rely on this data to ensure product consistency and quality. And in environmental analysis, understanding particle sizes can tell us a lot about pollution and environmental health. When we measure these particles, some key parameters we focus on are dV10, dV50, which is the median particle size, and dV90. These parameters give us a clear picture of the size distribution within a sample. Overall, understanding particle size is fundamental because it impacts product performance, quality, and safety across so many fields. When particles pass through a laser beam, they scatter light at different angles depending on their size. Larger particles tend to scatter light at smaller angles, while smaller particles scatter at larger angles. This difference in scattering angles is the key to determining particle size. The instrument's software then takes this scattering data and converts it into a particle size distribution using optical models like Mie or Fraunhofer. These models help interpret how light interacts with particles of different sizes. The output provides various parameters, such as volume distribution, which shows how particle volume is spread across sizes, surface distribution, highlighting surface area contributions, and number distribution, indicating how many particles are in each size range. All of this ties back to our overall goal, accurately characterizing particle sizes, which is essential in many industrial and scientific applications. Let's talk about calibration versus verification when it comes to laser diffraction instruments. Now, calibration, which is essentially an adjustment, is generally not needed here. That's because these instruments rely on physical scattering principles, which are quite stable and well understood. So, in most cases, we don't have to calibrate them like we might with other devices. However, performance verification is still essential, and that's where certified reference materials come into play. Using these reference materials, we can verify that the instrument is performing correctly. This step helps us confirm several key aspects. First, accuracy. Are we getting the right measurements? Second, precision. Are those measurements consistent? Third, reproducibility. Can we get the same results under different conditions or by different operators? And finally, optical alignment. Making sure the optical system remains properly aligned for accurate readings. This distinction between calibration and verification is crucial because it underscores that while the calibration might not be necessary for laser diffraction, ongoing verification using certified references is vital to ensure reliable, accurate results throughout the instrument's use. These materials have certified particle size distributions that are traceable to metrology standards. This means that the measurements are not just arbitrary, they're backed by recognized benchmarks, ensuring accuracy and consistency. When we talk about reference materials, we're referring to those specially prepared substances that serve as a standard for calibration and verification. They help us confirm that our instruments are providing correct readings. Specifically, for calibration and verification, we use certified reference materials, or CRMs. These CRMs are rigorously tested and certified to have precise particle size distributions, giving us confidence that our measurements are reliable. Connecting this to the overall theme, it's all about ensuring the integrity of our data. By using traceable, certified materials, we uphold the highest standards of quality and accuracy in our work. Let's talk about the optimal obscuration levels recommended by ISO. Generally, they suggest a range of about 5 to 15%, but this can vary depending on the particle size we're dealing with. This range is important because it helps ensure accurate measurements while maintaining safety and performance. Now, moving on to key calibration parameters. These are the critical factors we verify during calibration to ensure our system is working correctly. These parameters are essential because they directly impact the accuracy and reliability of the measurements we take. By carefully verifying these parameters, we make sure that our instrument is properly calibrated, which ultimately supports consistent and trustworthy results. So, understanding and controlling these calibration parameters is a fundamental part of maintaining the quality of our measurement process. These limits are specified in ISO and pharmacopoeial verification procedures, which are essential standards we follow to ensure quality and consistency. When we're verifying products or processes, these acceptance criteria serve as the benchmarks that determine whether the results meet the required specifications. It's important to understand that these criteria are not arbitrary. They are based on internationally recognized guidelines that promote safety, efficacy, and reliability. By adhering to these standards, we can confidently confirm that our products comply with regulatory expectations. Overall, setting these clear acceptance limits helps us maintain high quality standards and ensures that our verification processes are both rigorous and reproducible. Let's take a closer look at this example dataset. Here, you can see a sample of the kind of data we might work with. It includes various data points that are representative of real-world scenarios. The key takeaway is how structured and consistent this data is, which is crucial for effective analysis. By understanding this example, we can better grasp how to organize and interpret data in our own projects. Remember, this dataset serves as a foundation, illustrating the importance of clean, well-organized information for accurate insights. Keeping this in mind helps us connect the dots to the larger goal of making data-driven decisions. Let's take a look at the calculation of the mean particle size. This is a crucial step because understanding the average size of particles helps us evaluate the quality and performance of our material. When we talk about mean particle size, we're essentially trying to find a representative value that summarizes the distribution of all particle sizes in our sample. The calculation typically involves using data from particle size analysis techniques, such as sieving or laser diffraction. The most common method is to compute a weighted average, where each particle size is multiplied by its corresponding percentage or volume fraction, and then summed up. This gives us a single value that reflects the overall particle size profile. It's important to highlight that accurately calculating the mean particle size allows us to compare different samples, optimize processing parameters, and ensure consistency in production. This step connects directly to our overall goal of controlling material properties and achieving desired performance in the final product. So, in summary, understanding how to calculate the mean particle size is fundamental for quality control and process optimization in our material development. Let's take a closer look at precision calculation, specifically focusing on the coefficient of variation. This metric is really useful because it helps us understand the relative variability of our data compared to the mean. In other words, it tells us how consistent our measurements are, regardless of the units we're using. When we calculate the coefficient of variation, we're essentially dividing the standard deviation by the mean and then multiplying by 100 to get a percentage. This makes it easy to compare variability across different datasets or measurement methods. Highlighting this point is important because, in our overall analysis, having a clear grasp of variability helps us assess the reliability and precision of our measurements. It's especially valuable when comparing data that are on different scales or units. So, mastering the coefficient of variation allows us to make more informed decisions, improve accuracy, and enhance the overall quality of our data analysis. Let's look at an example for DV90 verification. Here, we see a practical illustration that helps us understand how to apply the DV90 concept in real-world scenarios. By examining this example, we can better grasp the key steps involved in verifying DV90 values. It's important to note that this process is fundamental in ensuring our measurements are accurate and consistent over time. By connecting these verification techniques to the overall quality assurance framework we've discussed, we can see how they help improve reliability and confidence in our data. This example serves as a concrete demonstration of the principles we've covered, making the abstract concepts more tangible and actionable. Now, it's important to remember that calibration isn't a one-and-done task. It also needs to be performed after certain key events, such as optical alignment, detector replacement, or any maintenance work on the instrument. These activities can affect the instrument's accuracy, so recalibration helps ensure everything remains precise. When it comes to how often calibration should be done, especially in regulated laboratories, there's usually a typical schedule to follow. This schedule helps maintain compliance and ensures reliable results. So the main takeaway is that calibration is an ongoing process, not just a one-time setup. It's essential after specific interventions and according to a set schedule to keep your measurements accurate and your laboratory compliant with regulations. In conclusion, calibration and performance verification are critical components to ensure that our particle size measurements are accurate. This accuracy directly impacts the reliability of pharmaceutical quality control, helping us maintain high standards and consistency. Additionally, adhering to calibration protocols ensures we stay compliant with ISO and pharmacopoeial standards, which is essential for regulatory approval and product safety. Now, when it comes to best practices, using certified reference materials is key. They provide a trusted benchmark for our calibrations. Following established procedures like ISO 13320 helps ensure consistency and validity in our measurements. Keeping complete calibration records is also vital, as it provides traceability and accountability over time. Lastly, monitoring instrument performance trends allows us to detect any deviations early, so we can address issues before they affect our results. All these practices together help us maintain the integrity of our measurements and uphold the highest standards in pharmaceutical analysis. For further support, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're here to help you with any questions or additional information you might need. Feel free to contact us through the provided channels. Thank you so much for your time and attention today. We really appreciate your interest and engagement. Remember, we're committed to supporting you every step of the way. Thanks again, and have a great day.